What's up, zoners? I've been telling you, man, I love my mock drafts when I draft running back in the first round, running back in the second round, Rashid Rice in the third round, man. And then, hey, in those middle rounds, a little bit later, I got Jacoby Myers circled. I got Jawan Jennings circled. So those are three amazing wide receivers right there. So you could go running back heavy in the beginning, hit those middle rounds, man, for some of those studs that are being undervalued right now. And then, hey, I'm going to give you my top five wide receiver sleepers for this season. If you hit on like half of these, dude, you are golden. We have a wide receiver on this list, dude. He's entering his third year. He was wide receiver 1 last season over a 3-week stretch. And guess what, dude? His team that he plays for, they averaged the most pass attempts per game last season. I think Joe Flacco's there now, dude. You know what happened last time he was there? He threw the hell out of the ball, dude. So there are going to be tons of opportunity for this guy to hit big. He's being criminally undervalued, like in the 14th, 15th round turn right there. I've got 4 more plus that, dude. I've got all my notes typed out, but you got to hold on for 7 seconds. You can do it! All right, man, let's start off with the player I was just speaking about, okay? I told you to pick him up off waivers. Hendon Hooker was thrown to this guy, and Jalen Hyatt in college. I'm still waiting for Hendon Hooker to take over the Detroit Lions and show everybody what's up. But for right now, dude, Cedric Tillman, all right? Those 3 weeks where he was wide receiver number 1, I told you to start him all 3 weeks. If you watch the show, man, you reaped the benefits. His ADP right now is at 168. That is on the 14, 15 round turn. So, hey, man, do I want a defense or do I want Cedric Tillman? Give me Cedric Tillman, 6'3", 215. All right. So he has that body type for a number 1 wide receiver in this offense. 3rd round draft pick, man, in 2023 by Kevin Stefanski, the head coach here, where I know they got Jerry Jeudy, but they traded for him. I like that homegrown talent, okay? And even when they were playing together, man, on the same field, Jerry Jeudy did not super break out until Tillman was out with concussion, dude. So wide receiver 8 with Winston, and that was with Jeudy being wide receiver 22 at the same time. And as soon as Winston left, Tillman got a concussion, and things flip-flop, man. Snip, snap, snip, snap. Wide receiver 1, again, dude, for 3 weeks, averaging 22.2 fantasy points per game, more than Jamar Chase, more than anybody, man. That's what number 1 means, for God's sakes. Season-ending injury, concussion, week 12, okay? So that is discouraging, but what were the Browns playing for, dude? 0.31 avoided tackles per reception. That is the 6th best in the league, man. And that was his 2nd year in the league, and he's already avoiding setting up, you know, like they catch the ball in certain areas to set up the broken tackle right after they catch it. I forget who I was watching. Some Hall of Fame great was telling me that via NFL Network, not me personally. But again, dude, I like that stat, and it really, and especially early on in your career, games with Flacco and Amari Cooper in 2023. So Flacco's already played with Cedric Tillman once. He has not played with anybody else. He had like Elijah Moore, and Amari Cooper was the main target along with David Njoku. Tillman was that rookie. But still, man, the first game Flacco started, Tillman had 6 targets, 4 targets, 8 targets, 2 targets. Then Cooper was a wide receiver 3 over those games. So even though he wasn't getting a ton of targets, that number 1 wide receiver on this team was literally the wide receiver 3 in the NFL as far as fantasy goes, dude. So on this team with Joe Flacco, I already said they throw the ball more than anybody in the league. Some wide receiver is going to be a top 5 wide receiver, man. Is it going to be Jerry Jeudy or Tillman? You're paying up for Jeudy. And Tillman has already showed that he can outproduce Jeudy depending on the quarterback and health between the two of them, man. Cleveland ranked number 1 in pass attempts per game last year at 38.9. That is insane. Joe Flacco threw the ball 35-plus pass attempts in 5 of the 7 games last year with Indianapolis Colts. So he still has it in, man. Cedric Tillman is my sleeper. I must draft as far as value, upside, everything in between, and opportunity, dude. Just look at the pass attempts, man. So Cedric Tillman, number 1 off the board. Now, we're looking at scheme. We're looking at the strength of a wide receiver, the strength of a quarterback. Darnell Mooney, all right? He hit us hard last year. I really didn't have too much faith in him, and he came out and dominated for like the first 7 or 8 games. All right, let's go over his deep reception stats. So a reception of 20-plus yards on 4% of his routes. So, you know, he runs 100 routes. 4 of those routes come with 20-plus yard receptions, which is 3rd best in the league. You'd think that wouldn't be that great. Well, guess what, dude? That is 1.3 receptions of 20-plus yards per game. That is the 3rd best. So every single game, He is at least getting one catch of 20 plus yards. That is amazing. Like maybe like every third game he gets 2 of those catches. That's what that stat means. So third best, man. So you're looking at the third best in 2 different categories on deep route running. Penix had a 16.5% deep target rate, man. That was the 6th most. He just got in the league, man. He's throwing the ball deep. What do you think is going to happen when he's more comfortable? All right. And a 66.7% deep accuracy over his last 3 starts. That's amazing as well. I think that was like top 10. Zach Robinson offense. Okay, so I'm looking at the scheme here. LA Rams wide receiver target shares since McVay has been there, because Zach Robinson was the offensive coordinator for Sean McVay. A lot of the same stuff. I think he was credited for making Cooper Kupp. That might have been my Vikings head coach, Kevin O'Connor. But let's just say, all right. So target share, man, 2 wide receivers, not to the tight ends or the running backs. The Rams just throw to the damn wide receivers. 8th most, 5th most, 6th most, 8th most, the 1st, the 4th, the 1st, and 1st. So just like over the last like 4 years, man, first, the highest target share to wide receivers, the 4th highest target share, the highest. All right. That's what like Puka. Well, Puka's been there for what? Now he's going on year 3, but still, dude, so much opportunity for Darnell Mooney. 5 receptions for 82 yards in the first game with Penix. I watched that game and I was like, oh God, I think I messed up big, dude. Darnell Mooney's going to be the benefactor here, not Drake London. Well, he injured his shoulder in the second game and then missed the third game. He did not get to see much time with Penix. 92.9% snap share he had. So when he's healthy, man, he's on the field all the time. You can't take him off the field. But that is the 3 wide receiver sets in this Zach Robinson wide receiver heavy targeted scheme. Penix, man, 33.3 pass attempts per game. That was 14th most. But a lot of those were deep, and he's going to be throwing the ball a lot more this year, man. The more comfortable he gets in this offense, and he had the 10th highest passing yards per game, which is a sticky stat for everybody, man. So yardage, love that. Okay, so Darnell Mooney, man, let's go to the 11th round. I still like Tillman more, but the floor is much higher for Darnell Mooney, knowing that he has a specific role on this team. He is going to be the deep target, and Penix, man, is the deep master. Okay. So I love Darnell Mooney as well. Marvin Mims, now we're getting in the weeds a little bit, dude. All right. I got this. We got 2 little sections of Marvin Mims here, but we have to pay attention to how this guy ended. And it wasn't like 3-game stretch or over. It was pretty much half the season. Okay. So ADP 161.3, 14th round, the same round as Tillman. I still like Tillman more. Sean Payton traded up, okay, in the 2023 NFL draft to pick him in the 2nd round. So we talk about an offensive head coach, man, with success with wide receivers before. Trading up in his first year as a head coach to pick up this guy in the 2nd round for wide receivers. Dude, the hit rate for wide receivers in the 1st and 2nd round of fantasy is like 70% or something like that. And then it drops dramatically in the 3rd round. So I'm just saying, dude, a lot of that draft capital means a lot to me right here. Caught 11 passes for 69 yards over his first 10 weeks. That doesn't mean much to me. That's horrible, dude. So 10 weeks, 11 receptions for 69 yards, dude, averaging 6.9 yards a game. What the hell? Wide receiver 23, averaging 15.5 points per game from week 11 on. So he had the first 10 weeks where he was not involved whatsoever, dude. Bo Nix got more comfortable. They started implementing more of this offense. They started implementing more of the deep stuff, the tighter window stuff. Okay. So that's how I am kind of interpreting this. The offense was growing as the season goes on, and that included Marvin Mims. So, man, average, and he was a wide receiver too. He was an amazing flex. So if you started him as a flex over like 8 games last year, dude, it was a league-winning play. He scored 20-plus fantasy points in 3 of those 7 games, so he could win you a week. 6 touchdowns in the 7 games on a not good 12.8% target share. So this is his biggest hurdle to overcome. His target share was putrid, dude, 12.8%. We want 20 plus, man, if I'm rolling you out there for the most part. And then he was first in yards after contact per reception at 12.3. Scored a touchdown on 3.1% of his routes last year. That's the best. So crazy efficient with the touchdowns again. Had the 2nd highest fantasy points per route run at 0.64. So these touchdowns are kind of an outlier, but it is what is being schemed up. He was drafted in the 2nd round, man. He was super fast. He was a deep ball threat. So he's doing what he's supposed to do. But there is a chance for regression. Now, say he gets more involved. These numbers will stay the same, but his floor will rise even higher. So this is kind of a 50-50. It could go either way. The way I'm reading this situation right now. He played a career high 69% of snaps during the only playoff game last year. Again, dude, 69% of snaps. We just talked about Darnell Mooney in the 96 or whatever like that. So this guy is not on the field very often, maybe 2 out of 3 plays or less. Drafted Pat Bryant in the 3rd round. He's being compared to Marquise Colson already. That's okay. This is a different type of player. Marquise Colson is, Cortland Sutton type of body type. I'm looking at the speedster going over the top. He's the only wide receiver under 6 foot on the team, right? And so I looked back. Brandon Cooks was a similar size with Sean Payton, drafted, I think, in the 2nd round from my Oregon State. Wide receiver 13, dude. He finished in 2015. Wide receiver 10 in year 2016. So 2 straight seasons of a number 1 wide receiver from Brandon Cooks. Similar size, similar profile. So I'm kind of liking that. That is as upside as a Brandon Cooks. And say Cortland Sutton is getting older, not as involved. Needs a higher snap percentage to be viable or needs to be dropped, dude. So he is also a first-team All-Pro returner, which I just learned when I was doing this. I forgot about that. But hey, man, so 50-50. It could go either way. Will he be more involved with a higher floor and then keep his touchdowns, maybe in the 7 to 10 range? Be an awesome flex, maybe low-end wide receiver 2 here? Or is he going to not be involved and they're going to work on some of these other wide receivers and you got to drop him? So you're going in the 14th round. Again, I'd rather have Tillman, but Marvin Mims, as far as upside goes, dude, I'm loving it. Next up, I've been talking about this guy all off season. He was my number 1 wide receiver coming out of the draft. Only rookie I'm going to talk about today, so there's not really a lot of stats on rookies, but whatever. Going in the 12th round, man, 135.4 is his ADP. Drafted 34th overall, man. So I was going to say drafted in the 2nd round, man. He was like the 2nd pick or the 3rd pick in the 2nd round. 6'4", 216 pounds. Whoa, 2,000 pounds, dog. This guy is going to be unstoppable. Okay, so 216 pounds. Whoa. Anyways, Nico Collins is 6'4" as well. So one of his comps is Nico Collins. If you look at the pros, only 5 times in the last 10 years when a team had 2 6'4" wide receivers or taller, each playing, and they both reached 500 receiving yards. So it's only happened 5 times. In no case were both startable in fantasy. In a lot of cases, one, the better wide receiver was very startable in fantasy. So that is the uphill battle that Jayden Higgins has. But CJ Stroud, I do believe, is going to have a bounce back season. And he does not run the ball that much. You got Tank Dell's got broken legs, man. Stephon Diggs gone. Nico Collins has missed at least 2 games every single season. They did add Christian Kirk, and they drafted Jalen Noel. And I really want to put Jalen Noel on here because he has a much higher chance to play slot on this team. And slot is kind of what I want with the 2 tall wide receivers on the outside not doing too well. But hey, Christian Kirk could also take that away. Likely to be on the outside opposite of Nico with Kirk, Noel in the slot. But Noel and Kirk also have experience as a Z. So, Kirk and Noel could play in the slot and opposite of Nico Collins. So there's a lot we need to pay attention to in training camp and preseason, actually, just to kind of see where these guys are playing and then kind of make our assessment from there. But hey, man, if Nico missed time, Higgins is the best bet to fill that X role, and we know that's a top 5 role right there. So Jayden Higgins, man, if ever there was a handcuff in, for wide receivers, if I was a Nico Collins owner, I'd be definitely picking up Jayden Higgins. All right, man, last up, Rashid Shaheed going in the 12th round, okay? I don't even know what this team is going to look like, for God's sakes, dude. New head coach, Derek Carr is back in Bakersfield, my hometown, the butthole of America. And, they've got a 27-year-old rookie throwing the ball, probably, okay? That's not great. So Rashid Shaheed was blowing everybody's dicks off for like the first 5 weeks of last year. Super efficient in that Clint Kubiak offense. And was looking like the better wide receiver out of him and Olave. Like, seriously. He tore his meniscus in week 6, dude, as fantasy wide receiver 17. So that was amazing. He ranked top 5 in average depth per target and deep target rate. He was taking like every single game was like a 60-yard touchdown for this guy. I thought it was a fluke. And then it happened every game. So he is amazing at catching deep balls. Has averaged 0.55 receptions of 30 yards plus or more in his career, 5th most among wide receivers. So I talked about, the 20+ average for Darnell Mooney earlier. I'm talking about 30+ yard average over here, dude, for Rashid Shaheed. So at least, 1 every other game for him. That is off the charts. Over the last 3 seasons, Kellen Moore's slot wide receivers, man, have averaged between 15.3 and 21.6 fantasy points per game. Because even CeeDee Lamb played out of the slot like 70% of the time. So Kellen Moore likes to feed the slot. He likes to run the ball a lot, likes to feed the slot a lot, does not like to throw the ball a lot. So kind of, depending on who that quarterback is. And yeah, AJ Brown has been the only successful outside wide receiver. And Olave, if you look at like average depth per target in the slot role, Olave looks like he will win that job. So depending on what happens here, Olave is actually going to be getting some praise from me if he does win that slot. But if Rashid Shaheed gets to play a little bit in the slot as well, I don't know what to do. So this is going to be a huge roll of the dice, but we have to be picking up Rashid Shaheed. There's so many unknowns, man. Who knows who's going to be the number one wide receiver here? So a lot of value in this pick. All right, man. Today we learned we want running backs early, man. First 2 rounds. We're going to pick up Rashid Rice maybe in the 3rd round, okay? We have Jawan Jennings is still playing for the 49ers. We want him in the middle rounds. We want Jacoby Myers in that middle round. And then we want to focus on hitting on some of these wide receiver sleepers all the way from round, 12 to 15. Cedric Tillman, I think, was going the latest. So you can wait, man, till almost the very end of your draft when there's not a lot of running backs left and pick up these wide receivers, dude, because they're going to be on the waiver wire with high priorities probably after week 1. So beat the crowd, beat the rush, and draft these fools. Hopefully I earned a thumbs up. Also, hey, let me know if I forgot anything. Hopefully I earned a subscription, man. We need it, for God's sakes. This is Tyler Big Turd Ward. This is the Fantasy Red Zone. We got a live drinking show on Friday. It is fun, man. You should check it out sometime. Later.